Welcome to My Minutes, your personal generative AI podcast. This is a really interesting discussion about hardship, or as the internet's putting it so eloquently, suffering flows to those who can bear it. Bit cynical, don't you think?
Huh. Yeah, a little. But it resonates, right? Like, why bother struggling if it just leads to more struggle? We're all tired of the glorification of suffering narrative. But realistically, can anyone completely avoid hardship?
Exactly. The article brings up a great point. It's easy to say avoid suffering, but it's not always that simple. What really grabbed my attention was the distinction between necessary and unnecessary suffering, like those forced marches around the track in freezing weather before breakfast. Pure unnecessary suffering.
Oh, totally. It's almost comical how some traditions stick around despite being counterproductive. Or, the character building exercises some parents put their kids through, like denying perfectly good air conditioning in the sweltering summer heat. That's not character building, that's just mean.
It is. The article frames it as maltreatment, and I think that's an important point. Even if there's no malicious intent, the impact on the developing brain can be significant. The prefrontal cortex thinning, the hippocampus shrinking, that impacts our emotional regulation and our ability to cope with future stressors.
Yeah, you're right. Setting kids up for a cycle of difficulty. And then there's the workplace, which can be a breeding ground for unnecessary hardship. The passive aggressive comments, the guilt trips for taking sick leave. It's exhausting.
It really is. And as they say, feed the hand that bites you, and you'll only get bitten more. It just reinforces the behavior. So the advice to run when you can, pretty solid advice.
Absolutely. But then what about the necessary suffering? The article isn't saying don't work hard, is it? More like work smart.
Right. The example of dancers pushing their bodies to the limit, musicians practicing until their fingers cramp, that's hard work, no doubt. But the key takeaway is the importance of metacognition, knowing why you're putting in the effort, having a clear plan, focusing your attention, connecting new knowledge to existing frameworks.
So not just blindly grinding away, but being mindful and strategic about your efforts. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels and getting, as the article says, low return suffering.
Exactly. And this applies to the work world, too. The article uses the example of revisions requested by a superior. Low return suffering is just grinding through the changes, getting frustrated. High return is understanding the why behind the feedback, integrating that knowledge, and preventing future revisions.
Oh, I see. Learning from the experience, not just enduring it. So metacognition is about mindful effort. The second point the article makes is about integrating experience, right? Not letting any experience go to waste, even the negative ones.
Yeah. Kolb's experiential learning theory. Every experience, positive or negative, is a learning opportunity. It's all about reflection and integration. And the third point, which I think is crucial, is about understanding your internal goals. What truly motivates you?
Internal versus external motivation. Are you driven by intrinsic satisfaction or external validation? Because chasing external validation can lead to a lot of unhappiness, especially if it's in a field that doesn't align with your internal values.
Right. The article uses the example of choosing a career. If you hate interacting with people, a sales job, no matter how lucrative, is probably going to lead to a lot of low return suffering. The negative feedback will be constant, and even the positive feedback won't feel fulfilling.
So ultimately, it's about aligning your efforts with your values. Not all suffering is created equal. Some suffering helps us grow, some just grinds us down. It's about being mindful, reflective, and understanding what truly motivates us. Makes you think, huh?
It's all about choosing your battles, right? Not all stress is bad stress. That's what I'm getting from this whole necessary versus unnecessary suffering thing.
Totally. Like McEwen and Gumar's work on the effects of stress on the brain. It's not saying avoid stress, but understand it. Yeah. Some stress can be good, actually. Helps you grow, adapt.
Right? Think about exercise, putting your body under stress, tearing muscle fibers. That's necessary suffering, right? Leads to growth, stronger muscles. But running a marathon with a broken ankle, that's just dumb.
Exactly. Unnecessary suffering. Monroe and Reed talk about how life stress contributes to depression. It's not the stress itself, but the kind of stress and how we deal with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the whole metacognition thing comes in, I think. Flavel's work on metacognition, knowing why you're doing something, being mindful of the process, it's huge.
Oh, for sure. Like with that dancer example, pushing their body to the limit. They're not just blindly enduring pain. They have a goal, a vision. They understand the why. They're mindful of their technique, constantly refining it. That's high return suffering, right?
Totally. They're integrating that experience, learning from every ache, every twinge. Kolb's experiential learning theory, right? Even negative experiences are valuable if you reflect on them, integrate them into your understanding.
Exactly. So it's not about avoiding hardship altogether. It's about choosing your hard, yeah? Choosing the struggles that align with your internal goals. That's where Deshi and Ryan's work on self-determination theory comes in, I think.
So we're talking about hardship, effort, and how it all ties into our internal goals. It's not just about working hard, right? It's about working smart, like what kind of effort actually pays off.
Right, right. It's like choosing your battles. Not all stress is bad stress. That's what this whole necessary versus unnecessary suffering thing is all about, yeah?
Totally. Like pushing yourself in the gym, that's good stress, necessary suffering. But staying up all night, cramming for a test when you could have studied consistently, that's just like self-sabotage, unnecessary suffering, low return.
Exactly. Low return. It's about being mindful, yeah? Metacognition, knowing why you're putting in the effort, like that dancer example, pushing their body. They have a goal, a vision. It's not just mindless pain.
It's about the why. And then integrating that experience, learning from it. Kolb's experiential learning theory, right? Every experience is a learning opportunity if you let it be, even the negative ones.
So it's not just about what you're doing, but also how you're doing it and why. It's about being strategic, mindful, and reflective, right? You said something earlier about internal goals.
Yeah. Internal versus external motivation. Are you driven by what truly matters to you or what other people think? That's huge. To stay in Ryan, self-determination theory comes to mind. Are you chasing external validation or internal satisfaction?
Because chasing external validation, especially in the wrong field, ooh, that's a recipe for unhappiness. Lots of low return suffering there. Like if you hate public speaking, becoming a motivational speaker is probably not the best idea.
Ha, probably not. It all comes down to aligning your efforts with your values, choosing the hard that feels right, choosing the struggles that actually, mean something to you.
Choosing your hard. I like that. So, not all suffering is created equal. Some suffering helps us grow, some just grinds us down. It's about being mindful, reflective, and understanding what truly motivates us. Thanks for tuning into Mind Minutes, everyone. We appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today, and we hope you found this discussion helpful. Until next time, take care and be well.